Do you feel trapped in a cycle of secrecy, constantly worrying about keeping your double life hidden from other people? Do you fear like they're starting to notice that something's just off, something's wrong? Or maybe, do you feel like what other people see on the outside is just a false identity? If you feel this way, you're definitely not alone. The amount of people that have told me this is mind-blowing, if I'm being honest. And in this video, I'll be describing 3 actionable steps on how to break out of your double life, get clean, get closer to others around you, and experience peace. I'm going to be showing you the things that I wish someone told me when I was addicted, when I felt like my whole life was just a lie. Now, the first step to reaching full alignment and no longer having this double life is simply breaking all the opposing beliefs. Completing this step will be a highly leveraged activity that takes very little effort to do, but will have a great return on your time. And once you see this, once you understand what I'm showing you and you can apply it to your own life, you can't go back. You can't go back to your original way of thinking. These lies and these rationalizations that once tripped you up and was a challenge is now something that was just of the past. This is the way to make handling urges easier and be able to change your beliefs for the long run so you're not constantly falling back into these temptations. It makes recovery so much easier. First off, we have to understand why these rationalizations exist and why they're so potent. And there's really just 2 reasons for that. One is that it makes it easier to go and act out. It's a very tough and difficult process to go and do something that you know is self-destructive. And the only way to make that process easier is to have rituals and have reasons and rationalizations and all these false beliefs that lead you to go and take that action, even though you know that it's not the action that you should take. It convinces you to go and do something you don't want to do, and it justifies it. And 2, it makes it easier to get the escape again in the future. The reason why rationalizations are believed is because it keeps the addiction as the only perceived solution. If you were to crush those rationalizations, you would start to have this cognitive dissonance. You don't know what to believe. You have these pains and these problems in your life and these desires for escape, but there's no clear way to go and act on that. So the addict rather believe these lies and believe these false beliefs just to keep the cycle going because it's familiar, it solves the problem temporarily. But the thing is, it only blurs the lines between the truth and the lies even more. It makes the double life even more intense. So what I'm about to show you is an exercise that I created to help you overcome these rationalizations in just 3 steps. And once you watch the entire video, you can just go down to the link in the description and go and use that same worksheet and complete it for yourself. Now, the second step to getting rid of this double life so you can have that inner peace is starting to make amends. A lot of people, when they go through the recovery process, they become cold. They become emotionally distant over time, especially to those who they're close to. If their wives are in their lives, they're not going to be as close. They stay more distant, again, because of that double life. They want to hide what they're doing. It's done to protect the other person, but it does in fact hurt them. They can sense that there's something wrong. And especially when you're doing this to close family members, they're confused. Your wife might start to feel like, does he not love me? Does he think that I'm unattractive? Does he not find me a viable option anymore? Like, what is going on? This is something that can really impact those that you love around you. And when that's going on and you're becoming more and more distant from people in your life, that's when isolation starts to become present. They start to isolate themselves more and more. They keep away. They don't open up themselves to other people as much, and there starts to become this overwhelming sense of loneliness. And it might not make sense because they oftentimes have a lot of people in their lives. You might have some close friends, close family, have a relationship, have kids, whatever the case is. Even though you have those things in your life, you might just be so removed and so emotionally distant that you're not able to connect with them. And if you do that over time, that just becomes the relationship. It's a terrible little cycle to get in, but there is a way out of it. And to counter this, I would recommend everyone to go out of their way to connect more with people in their lives. Because the saying is true. The opposite of addiction is connection. So if you want to separate yourself from this double life and create a reality for yourself where you no longer have to self-destruct, then building these connections will be key in your life. Now, this is not the cure for the addiction. I don't want to make any mistakes about that, but this will help other measures and it will accelerate the recovery process. It will decrease the incentive that you have to go and act out. So if you're in a relationship, go out of your way to do something for her. Show that you're still there, especially if you've been distant for a long time. I've worked with many guys who have wives or are in marriages that have been lasting, 15, 20 years. And when they do this step, once they feel better because they're staying clean and they're ready to rebuild that relationship, when they go out of their way to do these steps and connect again, the wife is surprised. She's like, oh, I've been waiting for this for so long. And she starts to reciprocate that same energy. Remember, love is a verb. It's not a feeling. And if you want to have the fruit of that, which is the feeling, you got to put in the work. You got to take those actions to love on your partner for it to be a fruitful relationship, especially if you've been doing this and you've been acting out when you feel distant and cold. If you're not in a relationship, I would definitely recommend putting yourself out there more, right? Being in a social setting. The addiction wants you to isolate, and the more that you isolate, the more you will give in, the more bored you will be, the more pain agents that will be in your life that is pushing you to go and act out. And as long as you're making progress in this way, you can build a lot of momentum. Like, you don't have to go out and just get a girlfriend tomorrow. As long as you're starting to put yourself out there more, you're going to feel better about yourself. Your self-esteem will go up. You can connect with people. You probably have a good couple interactions, and now you're connecting again. You don't have to feel like you're just some person that's sick, that's perverted, that's doing these things that you just have to remove yourself from people. When you get back out there, it's going to feel fulfilling, and it's going to be a huge motivator, not only in your life, but in your recovery as well. And the third and final step is to get personalized help. Now, before you go in and click off this video, I think this is really important to understand, because a common pitfall that I see all the time is that guys believe that they're in control. They think they have the ability to control themselves, but it's not true. It's the lie of lies. We're talking about all those rationalizations and false beliefs. That is the biggest one. And it's even more potent when people have evidence of that. For example, there's people all the time who might get into a relationship and they're watching porn less, or they're not going and seeing escorts anymore, or they might get a promotion, right? And they're working a lot more, so they don't really have the time or energy to go and act out. And another common one is guys get to a point where they relapse, they binge out, and then they just reach this like rock bottom where they can't even emotionally afford to go and act out again. It's just they can't even bring themselves to it. And it's going to take like 2 or 3 months just to feel normal again, and that's when the cycle continues. So don't mistake the circumstance for the result that you're looking for, because oftentimes I've seen guys get prideful and be like, oh, I've done it, like I've achieved freedom, but it's not true. And when you're in that state, it's frustrating because you think you can break free on your own. You're trying your hardest, you're using a bunch of willpower and discipline, but it's not working, and you start to get frustrated and mad about yourself. And it all could have been prevented if you just put your pride to the side and been like, all right, let's get some help on this. And that is pretty much the biggest thing that you can do. It's just not letting your pride get in the way, or even letting any fear or uncertainty get in the way either. Because on the other side of that resistance to go and get help is freedom. Being able to have someone in your corner is key, and there's different solutions for different people. But there's one solution that I definitely want to recommend, and that is relying on friends and family. I think a lot of people don't do this, but I would shy away from it, because unless they're like really close to you, ride or die, they might not understand or even know how to help. So it's best to go to an expert. And like I said, different solutions for different people. If you want to understand why you're doing the things that you do, like you don't really know why you get urges or why you want to go and act out, or you just don't have that clarity, then I would definitely recommend going to therapy, because that is one thing that they just do perfectly, which is understanding what happened from your past to lead you to be in this present moment right now and struggling with this vice. They'll help you with that. I also have other videos on my channel about your addictive cycle. So if you want to learn more about kind of the reasons why you're doing this, the pain agents, the triggers, all of that, definitely recommend you to go and watch those. And if you need a free solution, like you can't invest into yourself at all, at the very least you can go to an SA group. Those aren't terrible, right? You have a great community, people who go there regularly, and they're willing to help each other out. which is honestly a really cool thing. And that aspect of community and being able to talk about your problems openly might sound like it might not be helpful, but it really is, to kind of get it off your chest a little bit, not feel as isolated or as alone, kind of like we're talking about. Having that community is helpful if you need a free solution. But if you've tried therapy or you've gone to these SA groups and it hasn't worked for you, then you're definitely not alone. That was myself as well. And the reason why is because I think it's just not efficient. You know, as men, we need a process, right? We need steps. We need a system. That's just how we operate. And if we don't have that, or the process really can't be tailored to our own lives and circumstances, then we're not going to change. Unfortunately, that's just what's being offered today. So because of that, there's a lot of guys talking in circles about their problems or their feelings, and it's just not a very productive conversation. And they're even talking about these things to someone who might not even understand or hasn't even gone through, that whole thing themselves, right? So if you wouldn't take business advice from someone who's never built a successful business, why would you do that with your recovery? And that is exactly why I created this YouTube channel, because I saw firsthand how inefficient these mainstream solutions were. And it was not until I learned the things that I teach today that really enabled me to have success. So now my purpose is just to give back and help guys in the same position and really just provide solutions for men struggling with paying for sex. And I just want to give back and help my audience that you can experience what it really is on the other side, where you have peace, where you have joy, where you can connect to other people and no longer have to worry about this double life. So if you would like my help, right now I'm offering a quick and free consultation where we can meet and understand your problem and start to go over some solutions. Maybe you can even show me the exercise if you went ahead and completed that. And if you seem to be a good fit for working with myself and my team, then I can show you exactly our path to get you there. With that said, guys, take care, take action. Links down below for everything, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.